What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, rest in peace to David Prowse, who passed away a couple weeks ago. He was one of the several actors that brought the character of Darth Vader to life, and he will be forever missed, and his contribution to the Star Wars franchise will always be remembered. Something that I think a lot of people may not be aware of, depending on how hardcore of a fan you are of Star Wars, David Prowse and George Lucas did not like each other. So, for those of you who may not know, the character of Darth Vader is actually created around 3 different actors. James Earl Jones lent his iconic voice, to the role. Actor Sebastian Shaw actually played the unmasked version of Darth Vader in the final, episode 6 final movie, sort of. But anyway, when Darth Vader's helmet comes off, Sebastian Shaw is the guy underneath. And finally, David Prowse was a former bodybuilder who played everybody's favorite Sith Lord Beefcake, Darth Vader, in costume. Interestingly, though, David Prowse actually thought that he was going to be the only actor involved in being Darth Vader. George Lucas wanted someone with a deeper voice, obviously. James Earl Jones sure as hell fits the bill. But David Prowse thought he was going to be all of those things. He thought he was going to be the voice, he thought he was going to be the face when the mask came off, and didn't end up being the case.
Where are those tapes?
Only the commander knows, sir.
This ship carries the crest of Alderaan. Was there any of the royal family on board? Who were you carrying?
Unfortunately, this sort of began a decades-long feud between Darth Vader and the man who created him. Things actually got a lot worse in 1978. During an interview, David Prowse guessed or surmised about the idea that Darth Vader could be Luke Skywalker's father. And I know what you're thinking. What an asshole for spoiling one of the most iconic plot twists in movie history. But David Prowse actually did this 2 years before Lucas had written the script for the next film. So, it's a little, we're not sure who really had the idea first. It's up in the air. Did not help the relationship between these two men, though. Another interesting quick note is that David Prowse actually had to be replaced by the stunt coordinator because he was breaking the lightsaber prop during a lot of the fight scenes, and he was not brought back into the film under the Darth Vader suit until the end of episode 6, when the stunt coordinator was not strong enough to pick up Emperor Palpatine and throw him to his death, and so they brought David Prowse back in. They tried to film that scene for a week before they decided that we need to get Prowse back in here because he's a beefy, strong-ass son of a bitch, and he came back in. David Prowse was actually a pretty big part of the Star Wars press circuit for a really long time. He went to a lot of the conventions. He did all the press tours when the movies were coming out and was a really big figure, obviously. He played Darth Vader for such a long time. But in 2010, he was banned from all future Star Wars reunions and events and circuits and all that stuff by George Lucas himself. There are a lot of reasons that this might have happened. Prowse was pretty vocal about, imagine this, not liking the prequel movies. He didn't think that they looked good visually, and he thought they kind of didn't mesh very well with the original trilogy. Can't blame him on that. Maybe don't say that if you're in the movies, but yeah, he was honest. Prowse also bashed on Star Wars for not paying him residuals for his role in Return of the Jedi. This was a little bit more of him not being super aware of the loopholes in Hollywood, where studios will often cook the books to prevent their films from showing any sort of profit. Prowse would have been paid residuals if Return of the Jedi had showed a profit. It didn't, and movies rarely show profit because they generally will only pay actors off of residuals for net profit versus gross. If Prowse had negotiated to get a percentage of the gross, he would have made more money. This one isn't really anyone's fault, just lack of awareness of those little behind-the-scenes shenanigans. George Lucas himself never actually really gave a reason why Prowse was never allowed back within the Star Wars community.
Yeah, I love cars. I love going fast.
Going fast.
he just told people that he burned too many bridges. You know, maybe there's some jealousy there from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it is, when Prowse, you know, sort of had a similar idea to who Darth Vader might really be. Maybe it's because he didn't like the prequels, and George Lucas, I think, really did.
Yeah, I love cars. I love going fast.
Going fast.
But there are a lot of reasons why David Prowse would have been blacklisted from Star Wars events. It's just a shame that he was, because he was such an iconic figure in that franchise. I think another thing that really sucked was David Prowse being banned from cast reunions, which is a big deal. The Star Wars fan base is a very passionate community of fans, and you would think that if you were going to have a cast reunion, it'd be very strange to not invite the guy who was under the Darth Vader suit. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff at Star Wars and actors not liking each other and whatnot, so it's not a huge surprise, but it is pretty disappointing. In 2016, David Prowse retired from acting formally, stopped making public appearances, but not before he appeared in 2 Star Wars fan films, which is amazing. Both of them were done for charity, and I just wanted to include that because I think the idea of the actual Darth Vader showing up in fan films is amazing. What a great charitable gesture, and hey, maybe gives a little bit of hope to any of the people writing fan fiction movies out there. You never know. On November 28th, 2020, David Prowse passed away. He will be missed. His contribution to the Star Wars franchise will forever be remembered. But thank you, David. Thank you for everything you gave to the character and the franchise. I'm sorry that you hated the prequels, but you're not alone on that. A lot of people didn't like them. Guess as the old saying goes, may the Force be with you, David. We're gonna miss you. Thank you guys for watching the video. This was a little bit of a different video than I normally do. If you like movie stuff, I do a lot of movie related things on this channel. Subscribe, like the video. I'd love if more people saw it. David Prowse was awesome. Another interesting little tidbit, he was originally, I guess, one of the frontrunners to play Superman, and then they hired Christopher Reeve instead, and David Prowse thought he was going to get the role, didn't, but then they hired him to be the personal trainer for Christopher Reeve to get him ready for the movie. So David Prowse was an interesting guy and a legend. Thank you all for watching, and I'm out.